When I was 9, my mother got the news about my father. It was then that I realized I was never going to visit him over the summer again. He struggled with addiction his whole life, but this time the addiction won. Growing up wasn't exactly easy for me. A vast majority of my peers couldn't relate to the loss I felt, so I hid my feelings. And it was alone in my thought where I learned how to cope. I learned how to grow up, and I learned the importance of life. Because of that, death no longer scares me. The loss of my father opened me up to the world of mortuary science, and since then, I've known that's the field of work I belong in.
When I was 8, my parents sat me down and said they were splitting up. We cried as a family, but eventually parted ways. Things were fine at first. My dad had unofficial partial custody, so we saw him almost every weekend, but once he got his new girlfriend, things went downhill. He started caring more about her and her kids than us, and lying to us more about insignificant things. It was around that time that I found out his awful secret. My mom told 15-year-old me about my father's addiction to prescription pills. I was shocked and upset, but not surprised, as this explained some of his bad behavior. He had moods. Sometimes he would be distant, lie, or ignore us completely, but other times he would come to our house and spend a few hours or take us places for fun. It was hard living with a dad who was there sometimes, but other times not.
Losing my father shaped who I am today. Without losing him, I don't think life would have the same value to me. Each day alive is a blessing. Every smile, every laugh, every tear is precious. I'll never get to meet my father as an adult, but instead, I live my life each day knowing that he'd be proud of me.
It wasn't all bad, though. Because of growing up the only daughter, my mom and I formed a really tight bond. Growing up, I was always more of a daddy's girl, but I wouldn't trade my bond with my mom for the world. I also formed a really close bond with my younger brother, becoming almost like a father figure to him, giving him money when my mom couldn't spare it, picking up and taking him to sports practice, and teaching him mundane things like how to tie a tie. We formed a bond unlike most siblings. We care about each other and aren't afraid to hide it beneath petty fights. He's like a son to me, and my mother and I aren't afraid to be honest with each other. She listens to me cry about wishing I could be like the others, and she'll hold me, apologizing for picking someone not worthy to be called my father. I'm also proud to call her my mom. She rarely cries, especially about our family situation. She taught me to be proud and learn from my mistakes, a lesson my dad never could.
Because of this, we are resilient.